Let the House come back to order. We will return to the calendar. Appropriations in conference calendar. I recognize the chairman of appropriation.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, again, I appreciate your patience and bearing with us today. But look at today's calendar and go to item number 3. I recognize the gentleman from Montgomery to explain the conference report.
The gentleman from Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House. On page 1, item 3, we'll go to the Office of the Supreme Court. The conferees adopted the following changes to LBR level of funding. We had $18,360 of general fund salaries for the health and insurance, again, that I've mentioned in most state agencies. Increase of $67,091 for agency operations. These are contractual operations. $167,697 in general fund restoration of LBR cuts, and then $43,548 in general fund conference pay plan, for a total of $296,696 above LBR level of funding. That agency comes in at $7,774,352, and that's an explanation of the conference report. No questions, I move adoption.
Lady from Lincoln, Ms. Curry.
Mr. Speaker, the gentleman yield. So is there any money in this bill for mental health courts, since we've never appropriated any money for it?
Yes, ma'am, $500,000.
They asked for $3 million, so they're going to get $500,000.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to keep those prisoners in jail when we're trying to get them out?
We're going to continue trying to get them out.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on conference report to House Bill 1384. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted.
Okay.
Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 107 yeas and 6 nays, report passes. Next item.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to call up House Bill 1385. It's the Attorney General budget. This is a bill that we had recommitted. It's not on the calendar.
Hang on, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I think we passed that one before we took a break. Check with your analyst and make sure. We got a vote on it.
I wasn't here, so I trust you. It's fine. You're doing.
Never mind. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That bill's been taken care of.
All right, next item.
Okay, let's go to the next item on the calendar that we're going to take up will be number 6. House Bill 1392. Recognize the gentleman from Neshoba to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Neshoba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the appropriation for the Department of Environmental Quality. Excuse me, comes in at $269,036,379, which is $9,982,000,000 above the LBR. That includes, of course, your pay raises, your ITS, your health insurance, just some things in there that are local. We will be bonding the match on the state revolving loan fund for the municipalities. And that's the conference report for DEQ, Mr. Speaker.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs from the conference report of House Bill 1392. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 114 yeas and 3 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll go to item number 7, House Bill 1393. This is a conference report for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. It comes in at $83,013,033. This is $11,015,000 over LBR. Normal stuff that's in it. Gentleman from Tallahatchie, if he's here, there's language in Section 19, I believe that it is the legislative intent that no park shall be closed without legislative approval. I will tell you that we will be shoring up the parks through the bond bill. There's $3,500, I think, if we approve that. We will be getting $3.5 million, and we will be getting a dollar-for-dollar match. So we hope we can put about $7 million into parks, renovation, and improvements. And that's the conference report for Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks.
Questions? Gentleman from Scott, Mr. Miles.
With the chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, does this have anything to do with our wildlife trust fund bill that we had in there?
You know, gentlemen, I'm glad you brought that up. No, it does not. 1231, House Bill 1231, the stewardship bill that this House passed 117-2 is the House of Lords, as the representative used to say, chose not to take that up, but we will be coming back with it next year. Again, this doesn't address anything in 1231, but we are putting some state source funds in there for the parks, and we hope that will help improve some of the repair and renovation that needs to be done at those.
But if that bill would have been taken up, that would have been more money for our state's parks and Department of Wildlife.
Absolutely. We would have been able probably to leverage at least $60 million next year for our parks.
So that's free money that we're missing out on Mississippi that it's going to other states then pretty much.
That's it, gentlemen. We weren't in reinventing the wheel on that. We were not. But what we have before us right now is appropriation for wildlife fishing.
And other states around us have took advantage of that money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for your work on this.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentleman from Jones, Mr. Scoggin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
Yes.
2 questions, and you may have answered these, and I just didn't hear you. Number 1, in this bill, does it include any money for repairs and fixing up some of our state parks?
Yes, Jim. Well, not in this bill specifically, gentlemen. I understand in the bond bill, if we pass that this coming up, we've got $3.5 million allocated for it in the bond bill, and we will be matching that $3.5 million dollar for dollar with funds from the Conservation Land and Water Resource, which is a program that the Department of Wildlife can put a dollar for dollar match into from matching federal funds. So hopefully we'll be able to put about $7 million into repair and renovation and
You may continue.
repair and renovation in the parks, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is, will the fish and wildlife wardens, the game wardens and the people that work at the parks, are they included in that 3% raise that we gave?
Okay, so yes, you know, the normal staff and all of that, they will get all of that, okay, the 3%. Conservation officers fall under a different classification for their pay raises. They achieve educational benchmark and career ladder achievements, so they get a bump really every year. The conservation officers do if they achieve these educational benchmarks, which they do.
Thank you.
Jim from Marshall, Mr. Kincaid.
Thanks, sir. Will you yield?
Yes.
Does this budget include the purchase of any additional property for the Department of Wildlife?
Yes, it does. I don't know what section it is, and gentlemen, it does include $3.1 million that is coming from capital expense funds that will be used to purchase additional acreage for the Mild Mason WMA located over in Warren, Issaquah County, up in that area. I'm not exactly sure where that is.
Well, gentlemen, based on our current budget and our state of our parks, in your opinion, is that the best use of that 3.1 million?
You know, gentlemen, when I was negotiating this with the Senate, I asked them, why, I understand the need we always never want to have a net loss of any land or anything. But I said, with the parks, I just explained to the gentleman from Jones that we had a 3.5 million, hopefully in the bond, we'll match that 1.17 million. If we could have put that 3.1 million with that 7 million and matched that, we would have had around $13 million that we could have put into the parks this year. But the chamber down the hall decided, and we've agreed to go with the purchase of this land. Since it will benefit, I will tell you that it will benefit hunting and fishing and outdoor activities. But I thought we had better use of the money with the parks. That's been a hot subject all year. But the land is, when we can buy good quality hunting land and it be under the management of the state, it's also a plus too.
Well, I want to thank you for the work on this budget, but I will draw the question that $13 million would have gone a long way in our 1231 effort had we not decided to divert and gone to an appropriation. That 13 million would have seeded that account in pretty heavily. Is that correct?
Gentlemen, you're preaching to one of the 117 that voted for House Bill 1231. We could have took that 13 million in 1231 and leveraged it 3 times over that, whatever 13 times 3 is. So hopefully, with this House's indulgence and will next year, we're going to be coming back with something that's just an offer they can't refuse. I promise you that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. House Bill 1393. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted. Opposed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 109 yeas and 8 nays, the report is adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to item number 8, House Bill 1396. This is the appropriation for Public Service Commission. This was recommitted yesterday. There's nothing changing at all in this as far as the numbers or anything. We had some errors in the no-call telephone solicitation language that we had to clean up, some grammatical errors and changes. That's all it does. No numbers are changing. In the telephone no-call solicitation, we did award them $285,000 for some hardware that they were needing to continue to monitor telemarketers, but no changes other than just grammatical cleanup, and that is the conference report.
Questions on the report? Gentleman from Humphreys, Mr. Strawder. He's not there. I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, House Bill 1396. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted. Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 119 yeas and 2 nays, report is adopted. Next item.
Oh, is Joey not here?
Next item.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's skip 11 and go to item number 12, the House Bill 1412. Recognize the gentleman from Harrison
Gentleman from Harrison, recognized.
explain the conference report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. This is the appropriation for the Marine, Department of Marine Resources. And their budget this year is $93,615,000. There was a big difference this year. The reason being is because last year, because of the pandemic, some of the casinos and things were given some time to pay their titles and all, and then so it bumped up the number a little more this year. And again, it is at $93,615,000. There's no questions about it. I ask for adoption of the budget.
Questions on the report? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, House Bill 1412. Favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 114 yeas and 5 nays, the report's adopted. Next item.
Yes, let's go to item 13 to be House Bill 1413. Recognize the gentleman from Jackson.
Gentleman
Mr.
from Jackson,
Busby.
recognized.
to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the appropriations request for Mississippi Department of Transportation. Comes in state value $600,257,119. That's a little different from LBR. I'll tell you how I got there. I simply took actual revenues through February, extrapolated those out to June, and added a little bit of escalation to match the escalation between FY20 and FY21. That's what makes sense to me. With the federal contribution, puts you more at 1.1 billion. That's an explanation of the report.
Questions on the report? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. House Bill 1413. In favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas and 3 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's skip item 14 and go to 15. Be Senate Bill 2904. I recognize the gentleman from Calhoun to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Calhoun.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker. That item number 2904 is the appropriation for the IHL general support budget. That is, it comes in at $1,302,993,548. And that is a little over $6,409,000, restoration and LBO cuts. It was $7,756,402, and pay raise money that was put in there is health insurance of $2,486,000. There was ITS charges of approximately $141,000. It was restoration of vacancies and subsidies for and commodities from LBO. That was special funds of $38,090,000. It was certain EF money of $3,500,000, and it was repairs and renovation money for $13,239,631. That would be divided, as we've done in the past, to the different campuses based on the enrollment and square footage of the buildings. And then there's one thing I want y'all to listen to this. So there's $1,137,173 worth of AIRS funding. This is the money that I think lapsed from 2004 to 2008. I was not doing the budget at that time, but it was, the certain payments were made each year. And currently now we reappropriate any money that's not spent to the agencies for, I think, that 4-year period of time. That was not done. And so this will pay that, the money that those institutions did not get. It goes directly to the institutions. There's a certain amount that goes to each one of the 3 for that. And so far, it's a total increase of $72,763,618 above LBR. And so if there are any questions, I move out of pass or adoption.
Questions? Gentleman from DeSoto, Mr. Criswell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure what kind of inquiry this is. I'm just looking for the conference report number 2, and all I can find is the first one. Am I looking in the wrong place when I look online? Thank you.
She's going to come.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Gentlemen, if you would.
Yes, sir.
Please excuse my seat. How much did you say the AIRS funding was? The chair in the back.
The normal payment is $5 million, but this restoration of the money that was in the past,
yes, sir,
is $1,137,173, and that's from 2004 through 2008. that was not spent and are reappropriated.
Okay.
And so that's payment of all that money. Plus, there's going to be a reappropriation for the money that was not spent last year as normal.
All right, do you have a breakdown of which university will get that money?
Do you know?
Doing Alcorn, Valley State, and Jackson State, please?
Is it on here?
No. We can get that for you.
Please do. Thank you.
I don't have it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2904. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 111 yeas, 9 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
All right, the next item is item number 16, that's Senate Bill number 2905, and that's the conference report for the university subsidiary programs, the consolidated budget for that. There is an increase of $1 million in operational expenses that goes to various programs. There's restoration of LBO cuts. There's a pay increase plan of $551,914, and there's a health insurance payment that is in there, and for a total increase of $2,990,964 above the LBO estimates.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report 2905. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 108 yeas and 13 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next item is item number 17, and that's the conference report for Senate Bill number 2906, and that's the appropriation for Alcorn State Agricultural Research Program, and all right, and that provides for $154,717 in restoration of LBR cuts, $49,000 for pay increase according to the conference plan, the $22,680 for health insurance, and then $50,000 of operational expenses that is increased, $50,000 of EF funds that are in there as an increase, and $50,000 of the CEF is what capital expense funds. That's an increase for a total of $377,211 above the LBR.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2906. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 5 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next item is item number 18, and that is the conference report for Senate Bill number 2907, and that's the Mississippi State University Ag and Forestry Experiment Stations, and that comes in at $31,101,101. That is well, let me see exactly what they're going to do. They don't have the same sheet on that one, but it's going to be health insurance, and it's going to be it'll be the health insurance, and all right, just excuse me, just a second. All right, it's the restoration of the LBR cuts. It's the pay increase according to the conference plan. It's their health insurance, and once again, it has $50,000, and general fund increase has the $50,000 in the contingency fund increase. The capital expense fund increase, and $70,000 EEF money increase for it. That's the change.
Question? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. Senate Bill 2907. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 115 yeas and 5 nays, report is adopted. Next item.
The next item is item number 19, and that is the conference report for Senate Bill 2908, and that's the Mississippi State Cooperative Extension Budget, and it is for a total of $44,044,322, and that's the changes from what we discussed earlier, is the restoration of the LBR cuts that we've done in the others, pay increase for the conference plan, the health insurance. It also has $50,000 worth of general fund increase, $70,000 worth of EEF increase, and $50,000 for the capital expense fund, the same as the last two.
Questions on the report? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2908. In favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next item is item number 20. That's Senate Bill number 2909. It's the conference report for the appropriation of the Mississippi State University Forestry and Wildlife Research Centers. It comes in at $6,765,974, and that is made up of the restoration of the LBR cuts, pay increase, health insurance, and it contains $50,000 worth of general fund increase and $50,000 worth of operational expenses for the EEF and $50,000 worth of the capital expense. That's the explanation.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2909. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
All right, item number 21, Mr. Speaker, is Senate Bill number 2910, and that's the Mississippi State University Veterinary Medicine and College. And it comes in at $49,087,446. And from our original action, we restored all the LBR cuts. We have our salary increase according to the conference plan, have a health insurance reimbursement, have $50,000 worth of operational expenses that were added from general funds, $70,000 worth of EEF money that was added for operational expenses, and $50,000 worth of capital expense funds that were added for operational expenses. And that's
Questions?
it.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2910. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 4 nays, the report's adopted. Next item.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is item number 22, Senate Bill number 2911, and that's the conference report for the appropriation for the student financial aid. And this bill has a couple of changes that I wanted to point out. There's $5 million extra general fund for placed in the program, and there's $2 million of EEF money that's placed in the program for William Winter for a Gilmore loan program that hasn't been in this program in the past. And then there's a pay increase of a very small amount of $20,939 and a very small amount of health insurance because there's hardly any employees here. As y'all know, that every year over the last several years, we've had a deficit early in the year because we have basically been funding them at the prior year's amount that they've been spending, and the certain scholarships we have been the costs been increasing a great deal for good reasons, because our young people are making higher scores on ACT tests, which makes them eligible for these scholarships. Plus, the counselors are doing a better job of making the kids aware that that money is out there. So we're having more and more people apply for this. So every year we've been having to come in and do a $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 million deficit. So the attempt was made this year to give them extra money to try to avoid having a deficit, because so y'all will know what will happen. If for some reason we came in here and we did not fund that deficit, they would prorate the scholarships. Like this year, because this all falls in second semester because of the time lag, we were looking at as much as 15% being cut from the scholarships if we had not funded the deficit. So I commend y'all for doing that, but we're attempting to put the money in, and they're going to come back. We know it's probably not sustainable, that just keeps going up, but there's going to be a study done, and I think October by HL, to look at our different scholarship programs, see what's reaching the goals, what's being effective, what's not effective, and instead of just throwing money at it, they're going to come back with recommendations for what's working and what's not working for us to consider next year. But this is the money that will operate them through the year, and I'm not telling you they're not going to have a deficit in January, but it's going to be $5 million less than it would have been, and hopefully if it's like this year, there wouldn't have been a deficit if we'd increased it this much. And the William Winter scholarship money goes along with another bill that's been passed that's teacher education scholarship money.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2911. In favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 117 yeas and 3 nays. Report's adopted. Next item.
All right, it's item number 23. That's Senate Bill number 2912, and that's the conference report for appropriations for the University Medical Center. And it comes in obviously at large numbers. It's $1,822,600. It's a huge number, and so it goes in. There's restoration of LBR cuts. There's health insurance. There's an increase to the mine center of $50,000, which is what we cut it in the past. So it takes it back up to the level it was at. There's a $750,000 increase to the Cancer Institute, and then there's and this is important because I know a lot of you have heard about it. They're getting $3,681,530 for the Asylum Hill project, and so we're putting the money in capital expense money in to pay for the removal of the cemetery and relocation efforts there. Their part of the repair and expense money is $1,260,000, and restored their vacant pens and gave them spending authority for their permanent special funds that they'll generate. Excuse me.
Questions? Jump from Forest, Mr. Watson.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, if the gentleman will yield.
Yes, I will.
Would you restate the total amount of that appropriation, please?
Yes, it's $1,822,630,316. So 1.8 billion, a little over. Now I do want to point out here, there was not a general fund increase in this agency, and there was no salary increase here, and so that's my explanation.
Jim from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Gentleman, if you would yield, please.
Yes, I will.
Representing Hines County here, of course, we have a lot of our constituents that work there at University of Mississippi Medical Center. Is this going to eliminate the deficits that they may have, where they can keep the staff on and not have any further layoffs and so forth?
Yeah.
Have you talked to them? Where's
we
this going to
understand
in
it.
financial standing?
We understand that it will.
It will.
Yeah, that's
be able to keep them where they are now, or will they be able to hire back some people later?
It should be able to keep them where they are now. Yeah, how about, no, not hiring back, but it should, for the current employees, it should cover the cost of the current employees.
Okay.
And there's a little uncertainty with this budget because we're not sure exactly, there's been a little discussion about the money that's coming, the healthcare money that's coming down.
Yes.
And so we really don't know the full impact.
Okay.
But we did level fund them plus these small increases.
All right, do you know with that money have you heard anything about money that's coming down from the feds? Will it be coming directly to the hospital? Will it come through the legislature and then to the hospital? Do you know?
We think it's going to go directly to the hospital.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2912. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
Thank you.
Has everyone voted?
You did the work.
Post machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 24. That'd be House Bill 2913. Recognize the gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Barton, to explain the bill, the conference report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2913, the conference report. This is for the Junior and Community College Board. It comes in at $127,372,096. Of that, $6,335,750 is actually state support. The rest is special funds. The details of the conference report, they were restored $147,000 worth of cuts at the LBR level. There's some money in here for a pay increase. There's some money for additional health insurance costs. ITS, there's $100,000 EEF for operational expenses, and there's a fairly substantial drop from last year, but that was primarily one-time money that was COVID related. That came through that program. There was also a nursing program that was funded at $614,000. That money flowed through their account. That nursing program no longer exists. It was actually done away with because of low participation, and so that's the reason, and that's where we are. But like I say, $6,335,000 of state support.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2913. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Post machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll call up the next conference report, Senate Bill 2914.
You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 2914 is also community and junior college support. So this is for the 15 junior colleges and community colleges across the state. They come in at $652,426,998. Of that, $249,026,943 is actually state support. We restored the LBR cuts of $4,669,000. There's a pay increase here in their fund of about $3,250,000. There's money here to cover their increases in the health insurance coverage. $5 million for the Career and Technical Advantage Program, and I'll talk about that just briefly in a second. There's also an $8 million CEF for construction, repair, and renovation projects that's actually spread across the various community colleges. We did add one new program this year, which is a $5 million line item for CTE students and the CTE programs at the various community colleges. 15% of that money will be divided equally among the community colleges for that program. The rest of the money will be given to each community college. They'll draw that money down from a fund based on how many people are actually there. And so if they've got one student in there, they would draw $360 per student. They went back and forth about looking at, semester hours and all that, and finally came up with they'll just pay so much per student. And that extra money is there because these CTE programs are more expensive to teach than a regular classroom. They have to have equipment and all the other stuff that goes with it. And but that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Questions on the report? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2914. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 116 yeas and 4 nays. Report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 26, Senate Bill 2915. Recognize the young lady from MIT to explain the conference report.
Lady from MIT.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report for the Department of Corrections. The final action is $353,597,358. $11,981,252 were for salaries to restore pens and associated funding. $2 million was for salary increases already instated for correctional officers. $3,072,021 is for salaries for additional correctional officers.
May continue, lady.
$531,082 is the 3% conference pay plan. $444,420 is for health insurance. $316 is for MMRS fees. $261,693 is for ITS fees. $1 million is contractual for Walnut Grove transition. $5,467,447 is contractual for raises for regionals to $1.26 per inmate day. $5 million is for operating expenses from the capital expense fund, and $3 million is additional authority for the inmate welfare fund. And it's a total increase over LBR of $33,018,417. And that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield for any questions.
Questions? Jump from Choctaw, Mr. Hood. Passes. Gentleman from Holmes, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would a lady yield?
Of course, sure.
Lady, my computer messed up and I was trying to listen to you, and I want to start by thanking you for the hard work, because we've been going back and forth with the regionals. What were we able to do?
With the regionals, we did a raise of regionals of $1.26 per inmate per day, which is a total of $5,467,447. You remember when we did our action from the House, we did a strike all, and we've been doing some negotiation between the House and the Senate. You remember last year, we had a bill from Chairman, and we were discussing the raises for the regionals, and we had up to 30. And then in our House bill going into conference, you remember we had that language. And so I'm very proud of the chairman and the Appropriations Committee for the House. You know, going into the conference period, as you know, we were upholding that position.
Right.
And I'm happy to say with the Senate too, they had some discussion, some strong discussion with respect to the regionals, and they wanted to raise it as well. And we were happy to come to this particular compromise.
And that brings them up to what, 20 per inmate?
What was your question?
That brings them up to a total of what, 20, is that 29?
About maybe 29, I would say.
Okay.
And when we did the estimate, gentlemen from Holmes, when we talked about it, if we were to do the 30, when we looked at it, I believe it was going to bring us to a total. Right now, we're at 5.4. It would have brought it to a total of about close to 11. And so this brings us probably about to half.
Okay. Thank you, lady.
You're welcome.
Lady from Hines, Ms. Clark.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The gentle lady,
Oh, definitely, lady.
Thank you. What I wanted to ask, you might have said, and I didn't hear, but did you say that there were any funds set aside for individuals who will be getting out in any like treatment or any placement or anything, any place we could help them get back into society successfully?
Yes, ma'am, and reentry has been a very big focus, as you know, for several years. And I will say this, reentry is a part of this commissioner's plan. He's focused very heavily on reentry. So some of the expenses for the CEF, for the operating expenses for the CEF, the 5, that's going to be devoted towards reentry. And then also, let me go here. There is some language for the transitional housing. There is $500,000 for transitional housing. Hold on. So there is an added section in section 14, lady from Hines, where there's going to be $500,000 that's going to be used to provide for additional transitional housing and post-release reentry programs.
Thank you very much. I think you probably understand where I'm going. We're trying to prevent the reoccurring.
Oh,
of
yes,
that
ma'am.
thing. So I think if we could spend a little at the get out, we might be able to cut down on some of the others. Thank you so much. I appreciate the help, the work that you put into that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, lady.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2915. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 114 yeas and 5 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
I'd like to go to the next item, Mr. Speaker.
Next item is 2916. Public safety.
And call up that conference report for the Department of Public Safety, Mr. Speaker.
You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report for the Department of Public Safety. The final action is $234,176,099. And it is $324,001 for salaries for health insurance increase, $2,832,123 for contractual increase for ITS payments, $1,158,291 for the conference pay plan, $242,603 in general funds for 3 analyst positions for the Mississippi School Safety Act. And if you can remember, ladies and gentlemen, we passed this bill a few years ago. $44,873 again in capital expense funds for equipment associated with the Mississippi School Safety Act. $1,500,000 in capital expense funds for repairs and renovations at Malota. These are for repairs and upgrades for HVAC potholes into the barracks. $480,499 in general funds for death investigator salaries. So these are 3 new death investigators. If you can remember, there were 3 new death investigators in the deficit that we passed earlier in the year. So this will bring it to a total of 6 new death investigators. $10,200 in capital expense funds for death investigator equipment. $200,000 in general funds for support staff to keep and pay for staff. $3,209,604 in general funds for annualized salaries for Trooper Class number 65. And this class actually started on yesterday. $1,379,952 in general funds for 24 new pens for driver services, and this is part of the reorganization of driver services. $1,500,000 in general funds for ITS cloud-based storage. $100,000
May continue.
$100,000 in capital expense funds for bulletproof vests. And this is the Troopers Association helping our police departments and our sheriff's offices. $3,789,542 in general funds restorations of LBR cuts. $2,259,576 in federal fund restoration of LBR cuts. $3,602,733 in other special fund restoration of LBR cuts, $6,400,200 in general fund transfers from the DFA Capitol Police to the DPS Office of Capitol Police, $100,000 in other special fund transfer from DFA Capitol Police to the DPS Office of Capitol Police, $31,860 in general fund salaries increase to health insurance, $100,155 in general funds of to the conference pay plan, $15,902,414 in other special funds transfer from the Mississippi Department of Transportation to DPS. And this is for Senate Bill 2825, where we're transferring the Motor Carrier Division to the Department of Public Safety. $63,180 in other special funds. This is the salary increase in the health insurance. $244,952 in other special funds for the conference pay plan. $500,000 in general funds for general operations. And the total increase to the LBR level of funding is $45,976,758. And that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield for any questions.
Questions, jump from Jones, Mr. Scoggin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Chairman, you yield?
Yes.
Two questions. Number one is, you may have mentioned this and I just missed it, but is this in the budget? Is this going to adequately fund the 3 medical examiners' offices that we've got in the state for the autopsies?
So if you may recall, or maybe not, but to answer your question, so what the commissioner has decided to do is that he wants to have 6 new.
Can't hear you.
What the commissioner has decided to do is that he wants to have 6 new medical death investigators. And so to answer your question, this will help. And the way that he has decided to reorganize it, you have 3 that have already been paid for, as I explained earlier, in the deficit bill that we had earlier in the session, and then he's getting 3 new ones in this one. And so these working together will help, yes, I don't want to use the word speed up, but it will make it more efficient, yes, where you're getting your autopsies and getting your death certificates back.
So all 3 offices will remain open?
To my knowledge, yes. And what it will do is that you'll have these death investigators working throughout the state.
Right. Okay. The second question is, in this appropriation bill, are the highway patrolmen going to get raises along with the rest of the state employees, or do they come under a different grade like the fish and wildlife?
It's a different one.
Okay. Or do you know, are they going to get any raise?
Let us check. It's a different plan, but let us check and we'll get that information back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. General Sweet County Lady, my question, of course, follows the gentleman from Jones. I want to ask about the medical examiner's office. And of course, as you probably know, families are having to wait maybe 3 weeks to get their remains because of the lack of staff. So what's the increase of that department? There's a lot of chatter going on. I couldn't really hear.
And I couldn't really hear your question either. I think, and I'm going to just repeat it for purposes to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. Your question is about the medical examiner's office? Is it with respect to the...
I'm just trying to see if there's a substantial increase in the budget for the medical examiner's office, because they need more staffing. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, they do, yes. And so when this commissioner came on, he said that he wanted to reorganize that particular office. And so when he actually had his budget hearing, that was one of the areas that he said that he wanted to focus and reorganize. And so he has 6 death investigators that, as part of his reorganization of this particular division of this particular agency. And so 3 are already going to be a part of this particular budget and are being paid for, right? And then there were an additional 3 that I was explaining that were in the original deficit bill, but that bill has already gone to the governor. So to answer your question, you'll have 6 total. And as part of his reorganization, gentleman from Hines.
All right. Well, gentle lady, let me just say, there's so much chatter going on. Why don't you and I just ever talk after we vote on this bill? Okay?
That's fine, but to answer your question, this will help.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report to Senate Bill 2916. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 119 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 28, Senate Bill 2918. I recognize the chairman from Pontotoc to explain the conference report.
Chairman from Pontotoc.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to be able to present to you the the National Guard budget for your perusal and approval, I hope. I suspect that almost every one of us has had contact with the National Guard in the last 6 months. I know my family and I have through testing for the virus and also for treatment. And I don't know what we would have done in Mississippi without the National Guard helping us get these tests made and these shots made. The budget for the National Guard is a consolidated budget, and I'm going to just highlight a few items very quickly here for you. Number one, the funding for the military in Mississippi comes from 2 different sources. One source is from the federal government, one source is from the state government. Listen carefully as I give you these figures, if you would, please. The federal money is $160,896,690. The state share of that we'll pay is $7,997,192, and that's enough to keep the Guard running there, we hope. And the National Guardsmen will get the same type benefits with the health insurance, not with the pay raises, probably because their pay is based on their rank and the work that they do there. There'll be an additional increment cost for health insurance, and there'll be a conference pay plan will be improved in it too. Restoration of LBR cuts to the contractual line, and additional authority that includes, number one, and this is important, $80,000. This is a general fund increase to fully fund the National Guard's Education Assistance Program. The National Guard is proactive in finding tuition money to give to the Guardsmen who attend college, and we're thankful for that. Additional authorities for the agency's operation that needs, that's $120,000 that goes in there. And under the subsidiary, registration of LBR cuts to the subsidiaries line, and $800,000, this is important too, $800,000 gives authority for current maintenance and repair requirements. We have facilities that are out of date, need repair, and this $800,000 will go a long ways to help with that. The $800,000 will be matched with federal funds to provide an additional estimated $2.2 million in repair funds. And the agency had a 2.5% general fund cut, but that fund cut was restored, and they had 35 full-time PNs that were restored. And the last item is the agency is requesting $2 million in state bonds for critical backlog of maintenance and repair issues. This $2 million will be matched with federal funds. That's my brief presentation of the military budget. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? If there are
I
no,
don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2918. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. Ladies of the House, we'll go to item number 29, Senate Bill 2919. Recognize the gentleman from Jackson to explain the
Gentleman from
conference.
Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2919 is the Veterans Affairs Board. They come in total is $58,652,692. Of that, $5,507,083 is the state support. There's money here for increase in health insurance, MMRS charges. These are minor charges, ITS charges. There is some pay here, pay increased authority. We restored the LBR cuts to contractual and salary line items. There's also $250,000 that will allow help them in a move from their current location over to the War Memorial Building, much more central location. It's actually be in a building where many other veterans organizations are located, so it's kind of a one-stop shopping and not have to move around town to get services from Veterans Affairs. They have split the budget into 2 different budgets now. And so you'll have one budget going forward that will be for the Veterans Affairs Board. There'll be a second budget specifically for the nursing homes. There are 11 new pens that will be associated with a new nursing home that's being built. Of course, this is federal dollars, but the spending authority is what they need. There is an escalation here of $5 million spending authority on the federal side. And Mr. Speaker, that's an explanation of the conference report.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2919. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies of the House, let's go to item number 30. That'd be Senate Bill 2922. I recognize the Vice Chairman, Jim from Montgomery, to explain the conference report.
Jim from Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the budget for the Mississippi Department of Employment Securities Commission. This budget comes in with a total increase of $18,712,757 over LBR. This includes a restoration of cuts of $12,316,760 in federal funds and $107,505 of state funds. There's also the health insurance increases that we had mentioned earlier this evening, $130,680, ITS charges, MMRS increase of $5,226, auto reclassification totaling $947,308, and $61,669 federal to pay for an extra hour per week for 54 pens, going from 39 to 40, part-time to full-time, 39 to 40 hours per week. And that budget comes in at a total of $8,011,553. Was that confusing? Do I need to say that again?
No, sir, you do not. Jim from Hines, Mr. Brown has a question.
Yes, sir.
Gentleman Yield.
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear you say anything about the recipients of the unemployment. Will they begin to get a little something extra in there?
We just provide the budget. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We just provide the budgeting money. We don't. They handle the policy and the more money they get.
Did the agency have that?
The agency controls that. Yes, sir.
Did they have anything in there about that? About an increase in recipients benefits?
No, sir.
Lady
Thank
from
you,
Jones, Ms. Scott.
Well, the gentleman yield.
Yes, ma'am, always.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask you, now, when do we expect the employment offices to open back up, not online, but in person? Has the commissioners or the commission given the appropriations committee any, direction as to how long they think it's going to take for the offices for in-person visitation?
No, ma'am, they've not indicated to us when they're going to be doing that. There are several state agencies, Department of Public Health, there's a lot of.
Yes, sir, but I'm talking about this particular one now.
No, ma'am, they've not indicated when they would be.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2922. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Liberty of the House. Let's go to item number 31, Senate Bill 2923. Recognize the gentleman from Neshoba to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Neshoba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is item number 31, Senate Bill 2923, the conference report for the Department of Revenue. Comes in at $64,938,000, which is $8,090,000 above LBR, of course, the health insurance, the ITS. A couple of things of note on this that should be of interest to you. We have funded the homestead exemption at $79,013,472, and the license tag fund at $5.3 million. I know a lot of you are interested in the homestead exemption, but while it's not fully funded, it is very, very close to being fully funded and pretty much hits the mark on where we are every year on homestead exemption. And that's the report for Department of Revenue, Mr. Speaker.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2923. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 4 nays, report is adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 32, Senate Bill 2926. Recognize the gentleman from Pike to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Pike.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is Senate Bill number 2926, which is the appropriation for the Department of Mental Health. The general state funds is $233,634. It is over last session, which was $230 million, so it is over a $3.5 million increase. Again, we did restore, as we mentioned last year with the budgets, we did restore the general funds from 2022 LBR, and has the health insurance and the pay raises as well. So again, from a healthcare standpoint, I'm very pleased with this appropriation. That is the explanation, Mr. Speaker.
Questions on the report? Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott.
Thank you. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, now on the Department of Mental Health, I didn't quite hear you. You said that we're at $230 million?
Yes, ma'am. Our appropriation this year is $233,634.
Okay, and in this budget of appropriations, did the Appropriations Committee escalate any dollars for chemical dependency beds in this budget?
Yes, ma'am, we did special funds, and we are hopeful that we can have some increased alcohol beds throughout Mississippi through the Department of Mental Health.
We can, as you well know, Mr. Chairman, and as the analyst knows, and the appropriations analysts all know, that each one of these beds costs a certain amount of money. So can y'all tell us about how many beds we will have for the amount of money that we've escalated the budget?
No, ma'am. So as you know, it's a lump sum budget appropriation, and so therefore they will make that decision if they have the ability to self-fund to increase the beds. But I will tell you, after speaking with the leadership team at the Department of Mental Health, they are committed to have increased beds throughout Mississippi. Now, not throughout Mississippi, but at their local state facilities.
Okay, so let me just, so I can be clear. In this budget of $230 million, that is a lump sum budget, I know we used to have in those notes that you had over there, certain amounts of money for certain amounts of programs in all of the agencies, even though they were lump sum. Do you all have any idea about what the Department of Mental Health is thinking about spending for these chemical dependency beds?
No, ma'am, but I will say again, as out of the $233 million, they are committed to do everything they can to have increased alcohol beds. They know that how important that is. They know that it serves our state, and so they are committed to doing that.
Okay, and so my last question to you, gentlemen, is were you aware that right now, all over the state of Mississippi, we have people in jails right now that they've had some kind of mental break, something similar to like what's going on over here behind me. And they've had some sort of mental break. I was just picking at y'all. They had some sort of mental break, or they're addicted to some kind of drug. And with given the amount of dollars, I think the governor said the other day that we had about $500 million in unallocated funds. Was the committee hamstrung in the amount of money that you could give mental health? Because that should not have been a consideration. When you think, gentlemen, when the governor has said, and then even in this book, in the out-of-year projections, it's projecting $738 million.
Well, lady, I would just say that this budget, as I just said, is over $233 million. It's up from last year. It's up from LBR. So overall, I'm very pleased where we started from, where we were last session, where we were at LBR. So I'm very pleased where we are today.
So if something happens in just a little while, I can call the Department of Mental Health and I should be able to get somebody placed in a bed?
Now repeat your question, lady.
If I should have something to happen to one of my constituents, or if some of these members out here were to have something to happen to one of their constituents, would they be able to call the Department of Mental Health and expect to be able to get a crisis bed?
No, ma'am. I think they're going to go through the same procedures that we always do every year, that they've got to get committed at the local facilities. And so they can call Department of Mental Health, and out of this budget, Department of Mental Health is going to do everything they can to get that person treated.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2926. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. I vote 116 yeas and 2 nays. Report's adopted. Next item.
Let's go to item number 33, Senate Bill 2928. Recognize the gentleman from Montgomery to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tim Tom, Waterway Development Authority. The conferees adopted the following changes to the LBR level of funding. $540 in health insurance, salary line item, $2,814 general funds and conference pay plan, salary line, and $3,480 in authorization for contractual services for a total of $6,834 above LBR level of funding. And that agency comes in at $365,234, and that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Questions?
Move adoption.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2928. You favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 119 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 34, Senate Bill 2942. Recognize the gentleman from Walthall to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Walthall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2944 is the conference report for the, 2942 is the conference report for agriculture and commerce. It comes in at $22,191,877. It includes up to 3% pay raise and insurance, and that's $1,732,099 above LBO. That's explanation. Conference report.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2942. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By 116 yeas and 4 nays, report passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go item 35, Senate Bill 2944, appropriations for the Animal Board of Health. The Animal Board of Health comes in at $493,792. I'm sorry, $2,361,172. And it includes insurance and pay raises up to 3%, and that's $493,792 above LBR. Explanation, Mr. Speaker.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2944. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 116 yeas and 4 nays, report passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and House, I've got item number 36, Senate Bill 2948. Recognize the gentleman from Jackson to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2948 is the Department of Finance and Administration. They come in at $133,103,290. Of that, $92,071,103 is state support. There's restoring the funding on their salaries for LBR. There is a salary increase here. There's some increases here that for them to cover their health insurance. There's a increase in some contractual services that they have for ITS pass-through. There is $39,785,000 in capital expense money that comes in that goes to the Bureau of Buildings for new projects for this year. There is a $6,400,000 decrease in their budget this year that's related to the transfer of the Capitol Police Program to the Department of Public Safety. That's an explanation.
Questions? Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott.
I want to ask one question, gentlemen.
Sure.
Is this the bill where the funding from the Initiative 65 that indicated that we were supposed to do a, $24 or $25 million expenditure for the health department to be able to begin to operate the medical marijuana program? Is it in this bill?
No, ma'am.
Can y'all tell us what bill that those monies are in?
I'm told there's no appropriation for medical marijuana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2948. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Okay, I was looking for someone. Okay. Let's go to item 37, Senate Bill 2949. Recognize the gentleman from Montgomery to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final action on the conferees adopted the following changes to the governor's support and mansion. There's a restoring salary levels, 3% conference pay plan, health insurance, ITS fees, operating expenses, and contractual restorations for a total of $138,643 increase over LBR. And it comes in at $3,322,214, Mr. Speaker. And
questions?
An explanation.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2949. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 115 yeas and 5 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies in the House, let's go to item number 38, would be Senate Bill 2951. Recognize the gentleman from Harris to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and Mr. Chairman. This is the Mississippi Development, MDA's budget. You'll see a huge decrease this year. It went from 412 million to 167 million. What that is the pullout of the CARE Act money. If you remember, that went through them for our computers and our broadband and all that. So that's what the difference is. And again, we've got the insurance and stuff for the employees. So the number is $167,709,000. Move to adopt the.
Any questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. Senate Bill 2951. In favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Is everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 115 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
The next one is Senate Bill 2953. This is the Secretary of State's budget. Again, it is level funded from last year, same thing, other than, again, the insurance and all that we picked up. It is at $27,810. Move to adopt the conference report.
Any questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. Senate Bill 2953. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 111 yeas and 4 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 40, Senate Bill 2955. Recognize the gentleman from Montgomery to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, this is the conference report in regards to the Treasurer's Office, debt service, bonds, and interest payments. Excuse me. This report comes in with principal and interest bond payments of $2,852,483, and then a decrease of special fund authority for general obligation debt service of $215,678, and debt service principal and interest payments fiscal year 22 of $2,636,805. Total budget of $504,702,680, and that's an explanation of the report, Mr. Speaker.
Any questions?
Final adoption.
Machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report. Senate Bill 2955. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas and 2 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 41, Senate Bill 2956. Recognize the lady from MIT to explain the conference report.
Lady from MIT.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report for our deficit bill. Section 1 is the deficit for the Attorney General's office. Is for settlements from capital expense, and it's the amount of $1,102,016. Section 2 is for the Attorney General's office. It's for settlements. It's from, after, and through, and the amount of $751,735 from capital expense. The total for the Attorney General's office is $1,853,751. Section 3 is for the Department of Corrections for medical, and the amount of $8,225,975. Section 4 is for the Department of Corrections. It's for regionals, in the amount of $5,310,823 from capital expense funds. Section 5 is for the Department of Corrections, and it is to defray the cost of private prison facility expenses, and it's in the amount of $5,507,734 from capital expense. Section 6 is from the Department of Corrections to defray the expense of local confinement from capital expense funds in the amount of $2,626,170. The total for the Department of Corrections is $21,670,702. Section 7 is for the Department of Public Safety for the Trooper School, It's from capital expense funds in the amount of $1,522,743. Section 8 is for the Supreme Court for special judges and the amount of $375,000. It's from the capital expense fund. Section 9 is for Veteran Affairs for agency operations in the amount of $5,250,000 from capital expense. Section 10 is for the Wireless Commission. It's for contracts in the amount of $331,057, and it's from capital expense. Section 11 is for MEMA, and it's for the Disaster Trust Fund in the amount of $6,818,328, and it's from capital expense funds. Section 12 is for the Department of Mental Health. It's for agency operational expenses in the amount of $20 million. Section 12 is for, Section 13 is for ITS, is for agency operations in the amount of $700,000. Section 14 is for the Secretary of State for agency operations in the amount of $267,479. Section 15 is for the Department of Agriculture for agency operations in the amount of $76,120. Section 16 is for DFA for agency operations in the amount of $124,370. Section 17 is for the Department of Revenue for agency operations in the amount of $554,192. Section 18 is for the Department of Medicaid. It's for spending authority in the amount of $199,710,000. Section 19 is for the Board of Animal Health for equipment in the amount of $15,000. Section 20 is for the Board of Medical Licensure. It's for personnel in the amount of $75,000. And that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Any
I'll yield
questions?
for any questions.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, Senate Bill 2956. In favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 97 yeas and 13 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, ladies of the House, let's go back on our calendar to number 11 would be House Bill 1400. Recognize the gentleman, the chairman from Choctaw to explain the bill. The
Gentleman from
conference report.
Choctaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Tonight, we're going to pass the Medicaid appropriation bill. We are currently working on the tech bill and plan to have something for you tomorrow. I know many in this chamber have expressed concerns whether we're going to pass an appropriations bill without a tech bill. And so as soon as this is passed, we will hold it on a motion to reconsider. But we've been working on the appropriation bill, and we're coming in for a total budget of $6,568,412. We're going to have, that's around $899 million in state support funds. We're deleting 27 pins, establishing 26 new for one less, and that was just a technical amendment that was required for the personnel. We cut Delta Health Alliance last year, got $4 million. We removed them down to $1 million this year, and we are funding the full allotment of the waivers for assisted living, which is going to cost around $800,000, and we're establishing at least 435 new slots on the elderly and disabled home and community-based waste waiver. So I took that $3 million that did not go to Delta Health Alliance and put that $3 million into those two waiver slots. We feel like that is something good that you can go back to your district with, to your constituents, and I think it's a good use of the public taxpayer dollars. There's a waiting list on the elderly and disabled of 10,309 people. So I wanted to make sure that after speaking with you, that this is something we could address, because I think that's a program that helps a lot of people out in our communities. And so that's an explanation of the appropriation, and I'll take any questions.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott. She passes. Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, if you would yield.
Absolutely.
Of course, this is the Medicaid budget that you're presenting to us now, and we don't have the technical bill. Now, my question, of course, is going to be about Medicaid expansion. I mean, do we have any funding in here for Medicaid expansion? How would that work? Will we have to come and redo this budget, or is it ready to roll?
There's nothing for expansion in here, gentlemen. And there's not going to be anything in the tech bill for expansion either.
Sir?
And there's no expansion.
There is no expansion?
No.
So this is a budget for Medicaid with no expansion in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you don't see any chance of that happening in the tech bill or anything else at this time?
Not at this time, and not
I'm just asking, gentlemen. I'm not trying to beat you.
No, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman from Adams, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman Yield.
Absolutely.
Look, I know you said it. I want to make sure we understand, because there are a number of us who weren't going to vote for the appropriations bill because we didn't want to let it go without the tech bill. You're telling me you're committed to making sure that stays here until we get a tech bill?
If we don't get a tech bill, there's not going to be an appropriation.
All right, thank you. So it'll be all right if we vote for it.
You can vote for it, and I'm going to hold it on a motion to reconsider as soon as I leave the well, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
Gentleman from Forest, Mr. Watson.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, if the chairman would yield.
Absolutely, Mr. Watson.
What is the cost of the CHIP program in this bill?
I'll have to get it for you, gentlemen. While we're waiting, gentlemen, you can ask me another question if you need to.
Okay. Okay. It shouldn't take too long. I think he's bringing it.
Approximately 168 million.
168 million. How much of that is state funds?
25.7 million.
Okay, and the rest of it is federal funds?
Yes, gentlemen.
What's the source of those federal funds?
Federal government.
I mean, what's the what's the federal government source, sir?
Repeat the question, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
What is the federal government source for those CHIP funds?
The taxpayers.
Is it not the Affordable Care Act?
I know it's the taxpayers, gentlemen. I can't guarantee you it's the Affordable Care Act.
Gentleman from Scott, Mr. Miles.
Would the chairman yield?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, did you say that we were going to fund all the community-based waivers and that?
The assisted living service, we are. We don't have enough money to fund the whole elderly and disabled waiver service, but we put a pretty good dent in it, and hopefully we can keep looking at it. We're in a step in the right direction with this $3 million.
That's good work there. Thank you.
But it's got a lot of people on the waiting list.
Ms. Scott.
Gentlemen, the postpartum language for women who, once they have delivered, or if they have low weight babies, or if their babies are having some problems after birth, how much money is in this budget for that program?
There's nothing that's earmarked in this budget for postpartum. It would just come from the general funds of Medicaid. There's no line item for it.
Okay, well, you just told us that you were going to fund the complete assisted living and that you were going to put 450 slots into the E&D 1915C waiver. I mean, not the E&D waiver. If you know that you could do those slots, you have to know what that's going to cost. So I guess my question again to you is, since we've been advocating for and I hope the men in this chamber will listen to this. We have women who are delivering babies who are going through a great deal of depression. And not only are they going through a great deal of depression, some of it occurred prior to them delivering. And because of that, some of their behavior has caused their baby to have some difficulties as well. And what this program does is not only does it help that mother, but it helps those babies as well. And so here in Mississippi, we only think enough of women to allow them to be on this program for 60 lousy days. 60 days.
Excuse me, lady.
And so we're asking the gentleman, I'm asking the gentleman.
Lady, questions and answers, please.
Yes, sir. I'm asking the gentleman.
This is the last thing we have to do. Please limit your comments to questions.
I'm asking the gentleman if in this budget, will Medicaid have the authority to increase that time from 60 days to 12 months for women and infants to get this help in this program?
Currently, women and ladies are allowed to continue to stay on it due to the decreased FMAP that we're receiving due to the COVID epidemic. So ladies are being covered now.
But they're not covered beyond 60 days.
Right now, nobody can come off the Medicaid rolls once they go on because of the enhanced FMAP that we are receiving right now. So actually, some women are receiving medical care past the 60 days. With regard to the tech bill and this appropriation, if postpartum is in the tech bill and it is passed by this chamber, then it would be appropriated out of the $836,685,000 under Section 1. There's no line item for it.
And so once the CDC says that the FMAP and that the COVID pandemic has been overcome, where does that leave Mississippi's women who would normally participate in this program? Would they not go back to 60 days, gentlemen?
They would go back to 60 days, yes.
And so don't you think that we should have in the language that when that does happen, because we know it is going to happen, that we would allow for these women who are going through, you know, all kinds of things, and not to mention these women, but these babies. I don't know that the House understands that this program also covers low weight babies. It covers a multitude of things with sick mothers who are having some emotional problems, and then sick babies who are having physical problems as it related to that mother having those emotional problems.
Lady, I appreciate your analogy. I appreciate your comments. I don't see that there's a reason to do a line item appropriation in this bill if and when the tech bill is filed and then it's passed. If it's authorized in it, then the general appropriation in this bill will take care of it.
Okay, and so you're telling the House, so when these times come over in these months and mothers begin to deliver in October and September and they start to go through these problems, then we can say to family members that if they are Medicaid eligible, they can access this program, but the House and the Senate, the legislature only chose to let them have it for 60 days, right? That's the truth, right?
I'm not agreeing to that line of questioning, lady, but I do appreciate it. All I'm going to do is commit to the House that we've got an appropriation bill to fund the division of Medicaid. We're working on a tech bill. We've been working on it all day. I hope to have something for you tomorrow to look at and vote on, and that's where we are.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to speak on this appropriations bill.
Gentleman from Tallahatchie, did you have a question?
Mr. Chairman, now, if we get another Reconciliation Act from federal government, and it would provide for assistance to put folks on the exchange that might qualify for Medicaid expansion that we didn't. There's nothing here that would, in this or the tech bill that's proposed, that would in any way impinge the provision of benefits to those folks, would there?
Repeat that question, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, there is consideration of, under the next reconciliation bill, of putting people in states that don't accept Medicaid, making them, Medicaid expansion, making them, those individuals eligible for assistance on their insurance under the exchange. There's nothing here in any respect that would penalize the doing so of that or penalize those individuals in any way or take away any benefits they might be entitled to.
Anything to increase through the act that you mentioned would have to go through the tech bill. It wouldn't be subject to this appropriation.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Lady from Jones requested opportunity to speak. I'm going to recognize her.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me say, we appreciate the work that the gentleman and those that are on the Appropriations Committee, the work that they have done. But I just want the House to understand this program that we're talking about and how critical it is for women. This program is a multidisciplinary case management program. It deals with all aspects of situations that women are having when they're expecting, and then once they deliver, and then in that 6 to 8 week critical period after they have delivered. But I know that this House is certainly believes in life and believes in children, and so you need to know also that the perinatal high-risk management and infant services system is one of the critical programs that we have to reduce the infant mortality rate and low birth weights in babies. The reason that I asked the gentleman about an escalation in the budget is because the Legislative Budget Committee adopted in November projected state cash reserves. They projected that in 2022, that the Working Cash Stabilization Fund would be at $592 million, and that the 2% set aside would be $115 million. But the Budget Committee went even further, ladies and gentlemen. They took you out to 2025 and said that they were going to see a 5.2% growth. Well, let me tell you, that growth is here today. The governor told you the other day that we had $500 million in unallocated funds. If you were to look at what we have collected so far, $3.1 billion and some change. And we go back, and history being protocol, and in the budget book, they tell you that they use a historical experience to determine how they're going to make these projections. If you go back and you look at how much monies were collected in March of 2020, I believe it was $433 million was actually collected in March. $582 million actually collected, and the economy was shut down in 2020. $455 million was collected, ladies and gentlemen, last year in May, and $766 million was collected in June, but the economy shut down. If we were to just use those numbers, ladies and gentlemen, we would have a revenue of collections, not a projection, not somebody making some kind of guesses. We would have a revenue proposed in the coffers of $6,154 million and some change. But we all know that it's going to be more than that, because the governor just told you, right now you're $500 million over the estimate. And if you just go along with what we know is going to be, there's going to be a significant amount of money available for the state to appropriate. And that's why when I see them come here, when we didn't have anything, you could accept that you didn't have anything. But to tell Mississippi's women, to tell Mississippi's babies that you're not gonna do it, it's something that's unsettling about that to me. And so I just wanted you to know that it would only, it's not gonna take that much money for this program. The wonderful thing about it is that it does help these low-weight babies, and it does help these mothers to recover while they are going through, many of them, some emotional difficulties. I recognize that there's a lot of men out here, and I recognize there's a lot of women that might not care one way or the other. But I want to say to the House, it could be somebody that you love tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know where we're going to end up, or where we're going to be in this world. And it is an absolute shame and an absolute disgrace for us to have all of these dollars and not put monies in there to extend this program. And the last thing I would leave with you all, because I know I'm just a wayfaring stranger. Y'all all Christian and ministers and deacons and stewards. But the Bible says, but whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother in need and shuts up his heart from him. The Bible, 1 John asks this question: how does the love of God abide in him? I didn't ask that question. 1 John did. How do you shut up your heart from these women and these sick babies? Thank you.
All right, I recognize the chairman to close.
Final adoption.
I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, House Bill 1400. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 101 yeas and 15 nays, report's adopted. Next item.
Mr. Speaker, that brings us to a conclusion on the appropriation bills. However, we have 4 appropriation general bills laying over tonight that will be ready to go in the morning or whenever we come back. And I just want to give the members a note that there will be 4 appropriation general bills that will work tomorrow. And with that, appropriation yields the floor.
All right. Jim Choctaw, what purpose you seek recognition?
Motion, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to hold House Bill 1400 on a motion to reconsider.
All right, we'll do that. Lady from Lincoln, what purpose you seek recognition?
Motion.
Okay.
I'd like to hold House Bill 1393 on a motion to reconsider.
All right, we will do that. Gentleman Jackson, Mr. Zuber.
Mr. Speaker. Can you hear me? Okay. Introduction, please, if I may.
Yes, sir. You recognize.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so very much. I would like for you and the other members of the House to help me make welcome a very accomplished young man who is presently attending Millsaps College, has several connections to the great city of Ocean Springs, my friend Fletcher Freeman in the North Gallery, please.
Anybody up here this time of night watching this deserves a round of applause. Congratulations. Gentleman from Kapaa, what purpose you seek recognition?
Motion, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Today's calendar, item 21, Senate Bill number 2910. I'd like to hold it on a motion to reconsider.
All right, we can do that. Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, what purpose you seek recognition?
Yes, I'd like to go to the in-conference appropriations calendar, and I'd like to hold House Bill 1398 on a motion to reconsider.
Okay, we will do that. Chairman of Ways and Means has an item he needs to take up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the unanimous consent request that I told you about earlier regarding the cleanup language on the bond bill. I have a copy of it. I can read it word by word, but again, this is Bill 2971. The first paragraph changes the city of Ridgeland to Madison County. These are literally just typos. Line 5608 changes the city of Starkville Hospital Road and Stark Road to Octobaha County Octok Road. Lines 5618 through 5620 deletes the language starting with city and inserts in lieu thereof Board of Supervisors of Octobaha County. Line 5790 amends the bill number as amended by bill number 1230, 2021 regular session, and amends the title to conform therewith. Lines 5795 and again on 5811 inserts language dealing with federal Indian reservations located within the geographical boundary of the state. Line 6075 through 6078 deletes the number 1 on line 660 and reverts to technical changes on line 6068, 71 and 74, and amends the title to conform therewith. Line 7815 changes Bruce to Vardaman. Lines 8009, 8018, and 8020 changes Bruce to Calhoun City. 8801 inserts in paying costs associated with and amends the title by deleting Jackson County. Lines 11, 541 inserts, there was a typo in the number, it was 100,000, should have been 50,000. Lines 12, 500 inserts the word fund after Bozeman Road. Lines 12, 509 states, inserts after assist the following, the Board of Supervisors of Madison County, and inserts in lieu thereof, beginning at the intersection with Mississippi Highway 463 and proceeding north. Lines 14, 435, insert after Mississippi the following, add Choctaw County. 14, 437 inserts Webster and the word county. Lines 18, 712 inserts a space between Hooper and Mill, again a typo there, and changes on lines 22, 851, 500,000 to $1 million. There's a typo there. That's the unanimous consent request, Mr. Speaker, and there'll be a copy of this in the Journal with the clerk's office.
Any objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Gentleman from Grenada needs to recommit a bill, he says.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to move to recommit item number 8, House Bill number 525.
Motion is to recommit. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right. Anything else needs to come before this House tonight? Gentleman Prentice, Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a request.
Okay.
I'd like to change my vote on conference report on 1393 from yea to nay.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Gentleman Pike, Mr. Porter.
He needed to apologize. And he just texted me back and said, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request.
Yes.
I'd like to change my vote on 2949 from nay to yea.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Lady from Harrison, Ms. Crawford.
A request, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask unanimous consent to change my vote on, let me make sure I get it right, Senate Bill 2951 from present to yes.
Did we vote on that bill today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any objection? Change the lady's vote. Gentleman from Covington, Mr. Sanford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If it's appropriate, this was on yesterday's calendar, Bill 1135, change my vote from yes to no.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Gentleman from Prentice, Mr. Arnold. All right, I don't see anything else. I'm going to recognize Mr. Clerk for announcements. Madam Clerk for announcements. Recognize Gentleman from Octavia Hall for the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. in the morning, but the journal shall remain open until the last conference report is filed, or notify the clerk that no report will be filed.
All right, thank you, sir. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House adjourned to 10 a.m. tomorrow.